3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
All right, that was a little off.
That should be
It was a
fine.
nice attempt. It was close.
Should we do a clap?
I think we're fine. I got it. I said bye a little before you guys. Let's just start. Happy New Year, everybody.
Let's just start.
Happy New Year. I'm a homo. We discovered that needs to be made clear for some reason.
I forgot it was just going to be pulled out like that.
You know, Frankie, I forgot that you're gay, but now that you mention it, I'm completely remembering now that you're gay.
Wow, it's not like I did,
Hello, everybody. My name is. Oh my God. Hello, everybody. My name is Rich from YouTube.com/RichWrites.
Hi, I am Frankie Daniels. I have Instagram at FBD45, where you can find me most of the time.
Hello, everybody. I'm Richard Deserga from YouTube.com/RichWrites. Let's get this show on the road, baby.
Damn, I got a twin.
Oh my God, an identical twin who stole your name.
You know, Jake, I realized listening back to the last podcast, you said to me during it, you were like, you said rich.com/richwrites, and I said, no, I didn't. I said youtube.com/richwrites, and I listened back to it, and I was wrong.
We're wrong about a lot of things.
All right, so Happy New Year. We all watched the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. I binged it over the past 3 days.
I binged it over the past day.
You watched all of them in one day?
Yep.
Wow.
Commitment.
All my notes are mental because I literally watched them yesterday.
Before we get into it, what's everyone's favorite? I want everyone to list their favorite quote from the trilogy.
Oh, pizza time.
That's a good one.
Favorite quote.
Is it pizza time?
I'm caught between two. My two are...
I'm not paying for that?
No, my two are, oh boy, yeah. And,
wait, what?
Gonna cry?
When did that happen?
I think
are you gonna cry is a great line.
Gonna cry.
That's a good one.
No. I know mine. Are you enjoying the pie? Yes.
So good.
So good.
I love that all of them are from the third movie.
Oh my God! Did we all say what? I think oh boy,
Jake
yeah,
didn't
was
say
in the
one,
second
Rich.
one.
No, mine's from the first
I
movie.
just broke my bracelet.
Nice. Jake, what about your favorite quote?
When Randy Savage said 3 minutes of playtime.
Oh, nice.
No, wait, now I have to switch mine again.
That's my favorite quote.
What, did your husband make it?
Oof, Spider-Man.
I was very offended.
Not an LGBTQ ally.
I was like, no, Spidey.
Immediately after that, Tobey Maguire did 4 Hail Hitlers, but Sam Raimi decided he didn't want that in the final cut of the film, so they cut it out.
Oh, Sam.
Alright,
He's gotta stick to his guts next time.
Okay,
so you guys want to jump into the first movie?
Yeah, let's
spoiling
start.
everything. So big spoiler
if you have not seen the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, who the fuck are you? Were you just born?
Yeah, like seriously, if you haven't seen these movies... Are you a newborn
listening to our podcast?
Yeah, like, these movies are... Everyone our age has seen them. They're kind of like SpongeBob, where you could just quote anything from these movies and people our age will just understand it.
Pizza time.
Gonna cry?
Are you gonna cry?
Okay, so...
The original TikTok dancer. I have a new most popular TikTok.
Nice, what is it?
It's me reading a Grindr bio with a voice distortion on it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
It has over 200 likes, and I don't know why.
How many views does it have?
That's a good-ass question. Let's check. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Oh.
I made sure to get as close to the mic as I could.
It has 10,000 views.
Holy shit!
TikTok famous.
It has 210 likes and 10,000 views.
And today I was looking at my most viewed video, and I was like, 5,000 views. That's really nice. And Frankie is blowing me out of the water.
With a TikTok about a Grindr bio that was disgusting.
Frankie, I've been saying this for a while. I think you should make a YouTube channel. I think your YouTube channel would be better than mine.
I really should just read random things that people send to me on like a daily basis.
Yeah, you could like do like Grindr readings, and people would like that. I think.
Oh no.
I think that'd be fun.
All right, so Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Grinder.
So
Spider-Man.
Frankie, does whatever a spider can. Frankie, I'm actually really happy you picked the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, because if I were to pick any two movies to define my childhood, it would be Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2.
Mine is Spider-Man 2 and 3. I watched those religiously as a child.
Really? I don't remember seeing the third one as a child, but I remember seeing the one and the second one on repeat.
You know why I didn't watch the first one as much?
Why?
Because I had it on VHS and I didn't feel like rewinding the tape every time.
I also had it on VHS. And the second one.
Okay, so fun fact about me. Until 2002, I was born in 1998, so until I was 4 years old, my favorite movie ever was Son of the Mask.
We've had that conversation. It's a bop. It's a bop of a movie.
Right.
I watched that movie on repeat, and my mom watched it with me the first, 2 times I saw it, and then after that, she wouldn't watch it with me anymore, and I was so confused. I was like, why won't she watch Son of the Mask with me anymore? And then I watched it recently, and I'm like, okay, that's why. It's nightmare fuel. But then I grew up, and I became the ripe old age of 4 years old, and I saw Spider-Man in the theater, and I fell in love with it. And Spider-Man was my favorite.
You saw Spider-Man in the theater in 2002?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a discussion with my mother to confirm. I know we saw the third one in theaters. The second one and the first one are iffy.
I know I saw the first and the second one in theaters, and I know I wanted to see the third one, but I think I remember my mom just never taking me for whatever reason, and then I just never saw it until, this year with Jake. At the beginning of the year, we saw it.
Wait, you haven't seen it till that movie this year?
I think this year was the first time I saw the third one, which is shocking to me because I loved Spider-Man growing up.
Oh, should we all talk about how we watch the movies?
That's shocking.
Because I have the best one.
I think I can beat you. I don't know what you're going to say, but I could probably beat you.
Okay, how did we all watch the movies this past week?
I have the most pathetic story, so maybe I should go first.
Go for it.
I was pressed on time and decided that for the first and the third movie, what would be sufficient enough is watching all of the clips on YouTube and then reading the plot summaries, because I've seen both of these movies about 4 or 5 times, so I figured that's okay. And the only one I watched was the second one, because I saw it once years and years ago and I forgot about it basically.
I'm getting hot from the vodka.
But yes, I've seen the third one and the first one too many times. Well, the third one too many times. The first one sufficient times.
All right.
Frankie, you said you watched it all in one day, right?
Oh yeah, I watched them all in one day. And you want to know how I watched them? I bought all the DVDs at a Goodwill.
I got them. Well, the third one's on Netflix. For whatever reason, only the third one's on Netflix.
Yeah,
just the third one's on Netflix. The first two are not.
Well, I will say the third DVD was the only one that didn't give me trouble and had actual full screen. Okay.
I watched them. I watched the third one today, the second one yesterday, and then the first one 2 days ago. So I watched each day I watched a Spider-Man movie. So Spider-Man 1, I remember I've had a weird relationship with this movie over the years because when I was younger, I loved it. And then, as I grew up, I just didn't really watch it, and I heard it was really dumb. And I remember watching it, a few years ago and being like, yeah, this is dumb. Why'd I ever like this? And I think this time watching it, because I haven't seen it in a few years, I gained a lot of respect for it, actually. Because I think this movie is really, really good, because it just accepts how cheesy it is, and it's just presented in such a fun way. It's going for cheese.
That's not what Sam Raimi says.
Really?
Sam Raimi hates Spider-Man 3.
No, I'm talking about Spider-Man 1.
Oh, Spider-Man 1.
We're starting with Spider-Man 1, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry. I thought. Well, we got to come up. No, I will say here's my thoughts on Spider-Man 1. It is what sparked
Why would we
superhero
start
movies.
with Spider-Man 3?
I don't know. We had a weird off conversation that I thought because we were talking about the third one on Netflix. But anyways, Spider-Man 1 to me is the spark of superhero movies in all. Like, it is the essential perfect way to introduce a hero, make it new, just like blend everything together. I'm not talking about it like it's art. It's still a superhero movie, but it is still so good and just good to watch and entertaining and really good fight scenes, except for the fact that Tobey Maguire is 27 playing an 18-year-old.
No, he was born looking 18 and he's been that way his entire life.
It's true.
Is he?
Like, if you look at a picture of him now, he just
he's
looks...
40.
He does look the same.
He looks like an 18-year-old with a beard.
It's crazy.
He looks younger now than he did in these movies.
Debatable.
He's just holding a baby, and I'm like, is this your, like, brother? No, it's his kid.
Wait, does he have a son?
Yeah, I don't know. I looked up a picture of him now, and he was holding a baby. That's all I know.
Yeah, he has two kids.
He just stole someone's baby, and was like, can I get a photo with this?
Now I gotta Google Tobey Maguire holding baby.
Okay. Anyways, we're getting so off track. I love a lot of the performances.
Why is he holding it like that?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
He's holding it so weird. Anyway,
he was probably thinking of pizza. Okay. I love so many of the performances in this movie. Willem Dafoe was
Willem Dafoe is
incredible.
amazing.
Why just spill your beans? Oh, he's so good.
So good.
Like,
it was. Fun fact: did you know that stupid fucking mask he wears was not the original concept?
Really?
Yes. Here's my fun factoids. I did a lot of outside research, so like at the end we're going to talk about the little bit of plot for the fourth one. But they originally tested a animatronic mask for like the original look. No, it was really, really cool looking. I don't know why.
Yeah, but that sounds like a disaster on screen. Getting that to work constantly in 2002 sounds pretty bad.
I guess that may have been the problem, but like the mask looked amazing. And like if they had done that with like those scenes where he's like talking to himself, it would have been fucking incredible. Like even if they just used it for that, like I'll you know what? I'm gonna start an Instagram for our podcast and post this shit because it's really cool looking. Like it was.
You gonna plug
cool.
the Instagram right now?
I don't know what I'm gonna call it.
Okay, I'll put it in the
What should we call it? Quick, Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Sure, that hasn't been taken yet, probably.
Probably.
All right, wait. I want to talk about my two favorite performances in this movie. One is Willem Dafoe. He is so hammy and so cheesy. I love it. It's like he just knew exactly what movie he was in, and he just went nuts with it. Like he was like perfectly chewing of the scenery, and I couldn't imagine a single other actor playing that role.
There's a lot of passion in his performance.
Yeah,
it's surprising for
I watched the bloopers.
Superhero movie like this.
He went really, really far in a lot of the bloopers that he couldn't stop cracking himself up. But like, it's really intense watching him like make the facial expressions for the sound, for like this, like you don't see it, you just hear it moments. Like he went into it, and it was amazing.
Yeah, he's a great actor. Like, he was an Academy Award nominated actor at this point, and he chose to be in this movie, and I think that's awesome.
That is awesome.
You know, Willem Dafoe's my second favorite performance in this movie, but my favorite performance is J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
Who. Yeah.
He is incredible. He's perfect. He makes this his role. No one else can do this. Right? Like in the Mark Webb ones with Andrew Garfield, they didn't even try to make that character because they couldn't get J.K. Simmons. And if anyone else played it, there would be a riot in the street.
And that's what they did with Far From Home. It's him again. Like, I am so happy they did that.
Yeah, me too. Like, I love he's so funny. It's like a whole different writing staff is writing his scenes. I love the lines. I forget which movie this was in, but he's like mad because the photographers aren't working. And then his secretary's like, Mr. Jameson, your wife called. She says she needs to use your checkbook. And he just goes, more great news.
Also, that secretary is Elizabeth Banks.
She's so good in this.
I didn't know that was her.
I didn't know it was her either.
I screamed. I didn't know it was her until I watched the second movie and then Googled it, and it's still her in the first movie. Also, we have an Instagram.
I wrote in my notes here. Hold on.
Did you just make an Instagram?
Yeah,
yes.
wait.
Our Instagram, while Jake looks at his notes, is mystery.podcast.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it's the 3 question marks.
That works.
Well, while you write that, I wanted to include a few honorable mentionable things in my notes because there were things that I wanted to say, as I'm sure they'd be brought up at some points. So I wrote 3 things concerning actors. I said Willem Dafoe needs to be in more movies.
Yep.
Because he's amazing. James Franco is always terrible.
Damn ye!
And then,
we will get to that in the 3rd one.
And then my controversial, probably to some people, but probably not to anybody in here, opinion is that J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson is on level as for perfect casting as Heath Ledger Joker.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Which I'm sure so many people would be like, what are you, an idiot?
Okay,
I honestly totally agree.
Yeah, like it works, like it's perfect for this role.
It's genius casting. He's amazing.
Yeah, no one else could do it. This is my second favorite J.K. Simmons performance. My favorite being Whiplash.
As we all know.
Yeah. I think that, like, okay, I've seen this comment. If you look at any clip of Whiplash on YouTube, there's so many people commenting, I know why he was so mad. It's because he couldn't get pictures of Spider-Man. Oh my god! I've never heard that one before.
Is it?
I think it just goes to show how good the writing was for this guy. What do you guys think of Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man? Because this is a controversial one.
Here's what I'll say. At the time, I loved it.
Yeah.
We did not have Tom Holland yet. I will get to that later on in the podcast. I'll save that much. But, like, at the time, it was great. Like, he was that average little Twinkie boy from fucking Queens.
Yep.
Twinkie boy.
Twinkie boy.
Twinkie boy.
Am I wrong?
That's a good word. I like that word.
Open TikTok.
I think I'm probably the opposite, in that when I first saw the movies, I thought he was fine. But rewatching the clips for a couple and then the whole movie for 2, I really, really, really enjoy his performance in these movies. I think it's probably similar to me to how when you compare, not to jump immediately back to Joker, but when you compare like Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger, I think he fits the movies, like the tone of the movie, so well.
Yeah.
And just how ridiculous some parts of his performances are is like, that's not how a real human being would act. Like I think it's the scene when in the first movie where the Goblin shows up for the first time at that giant like festival thing or like commencement thing or whatever, and there's like a part where he just throws a bomb and it blows up half the building with 2 of his best friends on it, and he just stares with a blank face at this whole situation unfolding before him. It's like, oh, I'm Spider-Man, I'm gonna do the cool thing, but he just has no expression when 2 of his friends are about to die because a bomb just blew up right underneath them.
Well,
it's
Harry
like nobody
just
would
stole his
react like that, but I love
who
it.
Cares?
Yeah.
I like Tobey Maguire in these movies, honestly.
I like him a lot.
I think he's
I think he's great for what these movies were going for, which is the campy, stupid stuff, and it's so good at that. And shocking,
Spider-Man is the definition of camp. Like, Spider-Man is camp. One surprise no one went for him as the Met Gala last year. Spider-Man.
And when this movie came out, think of what the state of superhero movies were. It was the last big one, I think, was the Batman and Robin movie. Yeah. And that movie, like, ruined the market for a few years. This movie, and then also X-Men came out in the same year. This catapulted what is now the biggest genre of today's day, which is superhero movies. That would have never happened without this movie and X-Men.
Yeah, I just want to also mention I spelt your Richard's name right on the first try, and I'm very proud of myself.
It's 7 letters. It's not that hard.
I'm dyslexic.
Another thing I wanted to comment on that so we were on the topic of the actors and the characters. I fucking hate Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson.
Oh my
Me too.
god.
I also wanted to mention that in
She's
casting. Me too.
terrible. Not only
She
is she an
is
Did you
so
know
awful,
her and
awful.
Tobey Maguire were dating at the time,
No.
and she's that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
they were dating
Yeah.
They have
between
no
the
chemistry.
3 movies, and they have no chemistry.
They have no chemistry
crazy.
at all.
Like, what the fuck?
And I think Tobey Maguire's trying, but she is not.
Yeah, I will give him that much. He is at least trying. Oh.
It's unbelievable.
Like, I don't get why they cast her, and I don't get why they're writing her so terribly. It's like she's an awful human being, and all these men are throwing themselves at her, and it's like, for what? She's just cheating on everyone in these movies.
Yeah.
Oh my god, she breaks up 2 engagements.
Yeah, I was gonna say when we get to 2, I would love to jump on the end of that movie. But yeah, for one, I mean, I don't understand what he's going for. I think he deserved a lot more, Mr. Toby.
Like, I hate their relationship, and I love this movie, but it's just like their relationship. I feel like they only just, we love each other because we love each other, and it's like that's not a good reason to be in a relationship with someone. Like, it's just very one-dimensional, and there's no personality to it. I noticed this. I looked out for it. The only scene where the two of them have like a normal conversation that doesn't come off like robots pretending to be in love is in the third movie. They have one conversation like that, like after her play, and then every other one is just robots.
We'll get there, but
yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of how wrong the ages are of everyone in the high school?
oh my god, Joe Manganiello in a high school just
It's
looks
so funny.
He looks like a substitute teacher.
Their
hilarious.
teacher looked younger than the students.
Oh yeah, is it the bald guy in the background?
It's the short, bald black dude.
Yeah, it's like, is it him though? Like, you don't know. Like, you could not tell.
He's totally
if you
like
tried
15.
Your hardest.
He
I
like
believe it.
he's everything he says. He's like whispery and sounds like he's threatening them.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk during
no, Did our podcast get taken off fucking Spotify?
Were we on Spotify?
Yes, we
We
were.
were on Spotify.
I should know this.
Yeah, don't you run this show?
No, I run that end.
Yeah, but the teacher's like, if you talk during the presentation, I will fail you this course. I kid you not. And it's like, bro, chill.
The teacher is also only like 3 years older than them. I looked that up.
It's
too.
just a student who got up and just started teaching, and nobody stopped them.
It's
and
like
now
when the
he's just-
teacher leaves the room.
He's just power hungry. That's it.
It's like oh no.
Another thing I don't like about this movie, and I like this movie, but one thing I just didn't like about it was the CG. I think was terrible.
It's 2002. You got to give him at least that much.
Okay, but Roger Ebert, he had a review of this movie, and he said the CG was terrible in 2002. So it's not like it's just me saying it now. Like,
should we talk about Kirsten Dunst and the mannequin?
oh my god, I know what you're talking about. Say it.
And like all the extra videos I watched have like fun factoids. They show that clip so much.
Yeah,
because it's such an iconic clip, but it's so bad.
And they didn't even need to include that shot in the movie. But okay,
Yeah,
but for real though, the fight scenes are so good.
They're great.
Oh,
I
the
love
fight
them.
scenes in these. Well, except for what I will say.
You
But
don't like the
we'll
fight
get
scenes
to
in the
that.
first one?
No. I like in the first one, yes, but I'm talking in a later date.
Okay.
When we get to the third one, I will talk about it.
Okay. Like, I love
Okay,
how Peter gets the shit kicked out of him. Like, he really...
Oh yeah, they're just slamming him everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I love how, like, the costumes rip and you see them bleeding and they're punching each other and it looks, like, real. You know?
Yeah, they put a lot of effort into those. Like, definitely. Like, they took their time.
Yeah, it's very apparent that they, like, gave a shit. And the camera work is really good, too. It's very dynamic. Like Sam Raimi knows what he wants the movie to look like.
Yeah, he took his time, effort. They did put a lot of effort into these movies. Sam Raimi loves the first two. I will say that he did put his heart and soul into those, but like I said, the third one.
We're talking so much about the third one.
It's hard. It's so hard to skirt around.
That's the problem. It's so hard not to skirt around that third one because it's just so bad.
It redefined the entire trilogy in the most negative way possible. It's so unfortunate.
It made Sony not want to do the fourth one.
All right, we'll get to that later.
But yeah, this was I like Sam Raimi's touches on his movie.
Yeah.
Because he's the Evil Dead guy, and that those movies are incredibly campy and incredibly self-aware as to how kind of stupid they can be. And these movies very clearly have that same style. And my favorite part of his style, I guess, is I think I mentioned this to Rich once, was the overacting extras, which I'm sure upon rewatch now you know what I mean.
Yes. Yes.
There are so many close-ups of just
during the fight scene.
Random people
that
are just like, yeah, exactly. Those people. I love that so much.
And they're all very real New Yorkers that they just like definitely took off the street.
Yeah.
Hey, like, you want to be in a movie? Get over here.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Should we talk about how they had to change all the promotional material for the first one?
Wait, really?
Does anyone... Oh, do you not know this?
No, I never heard about this.
I feel like I know where this is going.
Yes,
I
you do.
Also feel like I know where this is going.
Oh, no.
So, when they released the first trailer, they released a, teaser... I want to say early 2001.
Oh no.
I know where this is going.
And the trailer is a helicopter getting stuck in a web between the two Twin Towers.
Oh, no.
So they had to change all the marketing. And that's why there's this whole, hooray New York scene when we get to the end, when they're when it's the fucking, car, wait. You know what? We'll talk about that later. But the fucking car, and then they're all like, yeah, New York, bitch.
R/H
Green Goblin. And it's all because that fucking 9/11 unity shit. Which is not shit. It's very true. But, but it's all, that shit where it's, that post 9/11 where everything had to be changed. That whole sequence they talk about in Lilo and Stitch.
Oh,
where they
I know what you're talking
from
about.
a plane to a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just had to change fucking everything because the world changed at that moment. You know what? Let's not get into 9/11. Spider-Man, next subject, go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that if New Yorkers saw this movie with a very pro-New York message, and it has the New Yorkers all coming together at the end to help defeat the bad guy, and I think if that made people feel better at the time, then that's great.
Yeah, it very much did.
This is a really good, feel-good movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Super wholesome.
Yeah, this movie brings people together after a tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
That's great.
I don't think this movie... If this movie came out today, people would hate it.
Oh, it would have done awful.
People would say it's so ridiculous and they couldn't watch it.
Because it's not up to par with these MCU films.
I wouldn't go
I think
that
it's.
far.
I think upon rewatch, I think at least for
good.
2, it's much more
1 and
interesting
2.
than
I
a lot
think
of MCU
2.
movies.
I will say 2 is up to
Jake.
par. I will say my counter argument. 2, I will say, is up to par. I definitely might think 2 is better than 1, and 3, of course. But I just movies like Iron Man 2 and Thor Ragnarok. And then, of course, I will not. I'm trying my hardest not compare it to the Tom Holland films, but compared to those Spider-Men, it's not there.
I 100% disagree.
No, how fucking dare you? Tom Holland is amazing, and it's not because I'm into him.
All right, look. Here's what I'm gonna say. This is coming from someone who has not seen Spider-Man: Homecoming. I've seen Far From Home, and then I saw he was in the Avengers movies, but. I was thinking while watching these, I think these are the first one and the second one. I think they're so much better than any of the MCU movies. I think what they're going for, it lands. And I think the action scenes in this are so much better than the MCU ones because when I watch the MCU movies, I'm thinking like I'm seeing this giant CG mess of a battle, and yeah, the CG is good, but like that to me, fights like that don't hit home with me because I can see an alien getting punched through 4 meteors and I can't resonate with that at all. When I see Green Goblin slicing up Spider-Man's arm and giving him a black eye, that makes me wince because I know what that feels like, you know?
You've gotten a black eye from Green Goblin?
No, but I mean like just getting an injury like that. Like that's realistic. Like Thanos
Richard,
throwing a moon at Iron Man, that doesn't make me wince at all. I don't know what getting hit with a moon feels like.
I can get that much. They're more realistic, of course, because it's not that we haven't gotten to that point in the Spider-Man series where it's all that space shit. But it's
I think you would like Homecoming a lot more. I think that's probably why you might feel the way you do. But even with that, I would still say that going back and rewatching clips or the movies, I liked Homecoming a lot when it came out. I watched it a couple times, and I still like it a lot. But that movie is really held up by really good writing and performances. But everything else in that movie is really boring, and that is probably like a representation of how I feel about MCU movies as a whole. And these movies have, I feel like, everything going for them, and they're way more interesting.
But I was going to make the counterpoint that the 2 points that you're saying the new movies excel in are the points that these movies are missing.
What do you mean by that?
Like, let's be honest, all of the acting, except for Willem Dafoe and some of Tobey Maguire, isn't great.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons is the other exception, of course.
I like Aunt May. I think she's really like an adorable Aunt May.
Her performance is great.
In one.
Okay.
You know what? I will say I did root for her in 2 when she hit him with the cane with her fucking umbrella. But that long fucking dialogue she has in 3, that fucking tea scene.
We're not at 3 yet. Let's stop talking about 3.
But like Jake said, it's hard not to talk about 3 because it made such an impact on the rest of the movies to be dissected more.
Okay, about these movies versus the MCU, I'll say this. There's not a single performance in the MCU that's as good as Willem Dafoe or J.K. Simmons in these movies.
Are we saying the MCU as a whole or just Spider-Man MCU?
The MCU as a whole.
Yeah, he's saying as a whole. You know
I'd have
what?
to think about that one.
I'm trying to think because
J.K. Simmons definitely not.
J.K.
And
Simmons
I love Willem
Dafoe,
but maybe.
Okay, wait, I'm wrong. Okay, in Spider-Man Far From Home, J.K. Simmons playing J. Jonah Jameson was really good.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
That is great. Wrong. You know what? No, I will say, you know who I think is a better villain? Jake Gyllenhaal in Far From Home.
Get the fuck out.
I loved him in that movie.
No.
So, do you know, fun fact, here we go. He was supposed to play Spider-Man in the second movie because fucking Tobey Maguire was ready to quit.
Yeah, I heard about that.
He had already signed contracts.
Is Jake Gyllenhaal a great actor? Yeah. But in Far From Home specifically, is he as good as Willem Dafoe or J.K. Simmons in this movie? No.
No,
I think
because here's my point before you talk, Jake. It's a different kind. You're liking it because it's that over-exaggerated point of crazy. I like that under-exaggerated. I know what's going on, but I'm still a little fucked up.
I have nothing but respect for Jake Gyllenhaal, but no.
Jake Gyllenhaal got fucked with an ass full of beans for you to disrespect him like this.
What?
Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, I never saw it.
I've watched it twice.
I don't watch it because I don't like gay people.
Because gay.
I'm
kidding.
Ruh-roh.
Are you? Ruh-roh. Backtrack. Actually, no, you might want to forward track with some of your viewers.
Mountain. I think it's really great. Even though I haven't seen it, I give it a 10 out of 10.
I gave it a 40 out of 10.
Yep.
Because gay. Okay.
Our podcast is canceled from episode 2.
Forever.
I'm surprised it didn't get canceled after episode 1.
Jake, you sounded like you wanted to say something.
I have only one. I think obviously J.K. Simmons is perfect, and nothing can beat his casting and performance. but the only I guess casting that I would say would come close to those two performances is probably Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. That is my
That's not in the MCU.
only contention.
It's not in the MCU.
Well, now
it's a Marvel
now it is
move?
now.
Wait, no, okay, but when it came out, it wasn't.
Wait.
Well, isn't the
yes,
second
it
one
was.
Disney produced?
It's
the
in the
second one's
X-Men
Disney
universe, not the
produced.
MCU.
No,
Yeah.
they couldn't use the X-Men. They used the off-brand X-Men that they were allowed to use.
Okay.
No, they did. No, isn't it a Fox? Isn't it a Century 21 movie? The first one?
Oh, maybe the first one is. Okay, yeah, the second one definitely is Disney.
All right, I'll agree. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool is in the same tier as Willem Dafoe and J.K. Simmons.
But here we
That's
go.
it.
Oh wait, no, that's
I don't
still
have
the
anything
Sony
else even close to
when
that.
he's in the Wolverine origin story movie when he was good
Shut
Deadpool
up.
for like 10 minutes and then he was that
Stop.
monster that he kills in the second one.
I don't want to think
which
about
is
it.
Oh my god, that movie sucked so much.
It did. Are we done talking about Spider-Man 1?
Ed
No,
Norton as
we
the
haven't even
Incredible
gotten
Hulk.
midway. We've only talked. We haven't even talked about anything.
I feel like we've talked about everything.
No,
Um,
we haven't even talked about fights, any individual points yet.
All right, well, we'll speed through the plot.
Okay, Spider-Man gets
What do you guys
bitten in a
think
new way.
of Spider-Man getting bullied?
Spider-Man beats up Sofia Vergara's husband
That's
in a
Sofia
pretty good
Vergara's
fight scene.
husband?
Yeah. Also, you know the scene where he catches that plate of food?
Yeah, he actually did that.
Yes.
That's a practical effect that they did 152
that's
takes
awesome.
of. Also, fun fact that I forgot to mention earlier, the crew was ready to pay Joe Manganiello hundreds of dollars to punch Tobey Maguire in the face because they hated him so much.
Why'd they hate him?
Because he's hard to work with.
Yeah, apparently
supposedly.
people don't like Tobey Maguire.
And Kirsten Dunst. I hear the same thing about her.
And Kirsten Dunst. Yeah, maybe that's why they're perfect for each other.
That's why they're a great couple.
Oh my
Wait,
god.
is it their kid?
Oh,
Are they broken up?
God.
No,
I don't have
they
a phone
broke
near
up.
me, I
They,
can't
they
Google
broke
it.
up.
Now, see, if the
Oh, no.
MCU had filmed that same scene, they would have CG'd the food.
I think they did. Isn't there a scene like that in Homecoming?
I
Jake?
didn't see Homecoming.
I don't believe so.
I think
but-
there's some scene where he catches something.
If they did do that scene, then yes, everything would have been CG'd, even Tom Holland.
Tom, I mean, that's how they would have had to done the next fucking Marvel movies.
What do you guys?
Um,
wait, we talked about James Franco. He's
we didn't.
He's
So James Franco
Oh.
in this movie is
No,
pretty
in
much
this
a nobody.
movie, he's good.
He's fine. He doesn't
good.
do
I think
anything.
he
He's
does
good.
what he's supposed to
We
do.
haven't gotten to the
He's
second
fine.
one. We
Yeah.
will get there.
So he's
Um,
fine in this movie.
I think the ending to this movie is perfect.
I agree.
Yeah, we
the
can
last,
we jump to the beautiful ending of this movie.
yeah.
I think the whole dynamic between Peter and Osborn is really, really good. I love how they're both working towards different things, and I love how Osborn's plan is to drug
Harry?
Peter. No,
Did you forget
Norman
his-
Osborn.
Oh, Norman.
I love
Osborn.
how
thought we were talking about-
Norman Osborn's plan is to drug Peter, bring him to the top of the building, and then have a dad talk with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Norman
Yeah.
leaning up against the wall talking to Peter in that costume was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. It looked
Yeah,
so
I-
stupid.
I think one of the things that I like so much about this movie that wouldn't happen also in comparison to an MCU movie is when Norman gets completely screwed over by the board of investors or his all of his people, he actually gets to kill them. He gets his revenge. He murders
that's my
all of
problem
them,
with these
and
movies
it's awesome.
is that they
It is
kill
awesome.
all their villains.
What's your problem
They
with the film?
kill all their. I mean, my thing with problem with killing your villains so quickly is you don't set them up for anything else.
Bro, they die
they're
at the end
done.
of the movie. You have a
Yeah,
whole movie.
but that's it. The only villain that doesn't die is Sandman.
And Harry, he lives. The three.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, until the end, but he lives between movies.
There were supposed to be more, so obviously no.
Okay. I remember I had something else I wanted to say about. Okay, I remember. I love how when Green Goblin has J.K. Simmons up in the air and he's like threatening to kill him. I love how Jameson would rather die than snitch on Peter Parker.
Yep.
That is
Yeah,
so funny.
It's a real good moment. It's a real good moment.
It's what's the fucking reporter like bullshit.
Yeah.
Like keeping your sources.
Yeah.
That was so funny because he could have ratted on him and he didn't.
Yeah, it's a quality character moment. I like that that part a lot.
You know, I think it's the second one. There's a deleted scene where he puts on the costume.
J.K. Simmons?
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yes.
There's a deleted scene where J.K. Simmons puts on the Spider-Man costume.
Oh my god.
Because he gets it.
Yeah, because he hangs it up. Yeah.
Isn't that the
and
second
then when
movie?
Spider-Man takes it back.
Yeah, in the second movie. Yeah.
We're not
All right,
there yet. Okay.
Should we do our favorites and then?
Okay. Before we get into that, I have
move
one
on.
final thing I want to say about this movie. So Frankie, remember how you were talking about the way we watched the movies and how I said I'm going to beat you?
Yeah.
So I've seen Spider-Man 1 probably over a dozen times, right? I was thinking, like, if I'm going to watch this movie by myself, there's no way... Did you watch it on
VHS?
Just hear me out. There's no way I can physically bring myself to do it by myself, like the way it's normally intended to watch. So I decided to experiment a little bit, and I actually watched it synced up with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
And what I found was startling. I have information no one else has. I took a bunch of notes. So the album begins and ends with like 30 seconds of heartbeat. So I decided to start the album because there's an opening credits with a song in the movie. So I started the album.
We didn't talk about that, how all of these movies have way too long opening credits.
So I started the album immediately as the song ends and Peter starts talking. So there's that heartbeat as Peter's talking, and there's the heartbeat as he introduces Mary Jane. And then as soon as he walks up onto the bus, the instrumental for Breathe starts. And it's this like ominous kind of instrumental, and this is as he's walking on the bus and he's getting like bullied, like everyone's telling him not to sit with him, and I think it fits pretty well. So one thing that I loved was that when Harry Osborn is talking to Norman Osborn in the car, the lyric "I'm not afraid of who I am" says, like the Pink Floyd says that lyric as they're talking about how Harry's going to grow up, and I think that's really interesting how it works with each other. The lyric "Run" comes up as soon as everyone is called into the museum, and we see Tobey Maguire like running into the museum. I think that's interesting.
Richard, you're such a nerd.
On the Run plays. Okay, wait. I want to get to the interesting parts. So it's just for the first like 10 minutes, it just fits like really well, and it's like a neat music video, and like the aura of the songs are matching what's happening visually, and then it kind of becomes insane because it starts immediately as we get to the science lab, because the clocks for time. You guys familiar with that song?
Yes.
Okay. It starts with clocks ringing. That's how the song opens. And as soon as the clocks start ringing, we cut to the science lab for Norman. And I was like, that's so weird. And then the first 2 minutes of time after that is just this slow like drum thing. It's not a lot is going on, but it's just perfectly fitting this moment of Norman talking to the scientists and the people that are above him. And so that's during the prelude when he's talking to the military. It just fits really well. And then the second it cuts to Peter's aunt and uncle discussing their job and how they're getting older and Peter's getting older, the lyrics to Time start. And Time is like all about how your life goes by and the ticking of time and how you get older. And it's just really weird that it fit really well. And then Peter comes in and he runs upstairs, and Peter goes upstairs and he transforms into the Spider-Man. And as that's happening, the guitar solo of Time starts, and his whole transformation is happening during the solo of Time. It's insane.
I think Richard's uncovered something.
Okay, so that happens. And then, so when Peter wakes up, right? As soon as Peter wakes up, they have the beginning of Great Gig in the Sky, which is this like the beginning of it is like this piano drums kind of thing. It's very smooth, and it's as he's waking up from a coma, and it just fits so well. And okay, so Great Gig in the Sky, the way the lyrics go for that is it's just a gospel singer who's like improvising over this instrumental, and she's just making moans and yelling for like the whole 6 minutes or whatever. Jake, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes. Yeah.
The lyrics immediately kick in as Peter looks out the window to see Mary Jane. And I was like, that is so weird. And this is when I stopped being like, this is a weird coincidence to like, I think this is like on purpose. And this, yeah. So he's checking out his muscles as like the piano and the drums are building up, as it's building up intensity. He's looking at his muscles, and then like the vocals come in as immediately as he looks at Mary Jane.
Muscles.
And there was this moment that shocked me. So Peter's walking down the sidewalk to the bus, right? And there's a train in the background, and the train like it honks. So they had to have edited in the sound of the train honking, right?
Yes.
This is when the woman's like moaning and yelling. The honk syncs up perfectly with one of the vocals that the woman is delivering. Perfectly. It builds up.
Richard, we're not doing a conspiracy theory podcast. I
swear to God. No, okay, they needed to edit this horn in. And it synced up perfectly with Great Gig in the Sky. Dude, this has to be on purpose. And there are tons of moments that made me think that this was on purpose.
My favorite scene in the movie.
Okay, hear me out. I gotta keep going.
We're counting it. Richard, you're gonna go on a tangent.
I need to keep going with this. The ching to
money. Do it on your channel.
Okay, shut up. The ching to money starts when Peter sees Mary Jane.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Are you really going to the bathroom?
I have to.
I have to go to the bathroom too. I was waiting for this to be done so that I can go.
Should we just go and let him go on a tangent?
I need you guys to be here to react to this.
Oh my God.
Okay,
well,
okay.
Finish this
I'll go over
soon.
the rest of it quickly, okay? So, what?
That you going over something quickly.
Okay, I will do it, I promise. So, when he first sees his spidey senses, money is playing. Which just fits so well. And as soon as the saxophone to money is playing, he's fighting Flash Thompson in the hallway. And it just, like, fits. It fits so well. And he backflips during the sax solo, and immediately after he kicks Flash Thompson, the sax solo ends and the guitar solo comes in. That cannot be a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be a coincidence.
Can you guys... Okay, one more thing for the first time the album plays. When Peter and Mary Jane are talking in the backyard. Peter and Mary Jane are talking in the backyard. It's the beginning of Us and Them. And Us and Them is like this slow piano with like bass and drums. And it's like fits their romantic conversation so well. And that song builds up to a climax that it goes from low intensity to just high intensity really quick. And as soon as it goes into high intensity, Mary Jane runs to her boyfriend's car. Immediately.
Wow!
Frankie, your sarcasm is not appreciated.
I don't care.
Can you guys guess what happens immediately after the album ends for the first time?
The movie ends!
Oh my God.
He swings on the web for the very first time immediately after the album ends.
Oh my God.
That's it. Case closed.
Throughout this whole movie, this whole time, I was like losing my mind because it just fits so well. And I could not believe what I was watching. Two more things. Just two more things. And then I'll...
Oh my.
Okay, so one of the most iconic bass lines ever is To Money, right? If you look at any list of the most iconic or greatest bass lines ever, Money by Pink Floyd is always there. The only time a bass guitar is in frame during the entire movie is the second time Money plays.
Oh!
Like, come on, that can't be a coincidence.
Oh!
Okay.
Rich, when did the album come out?
1974?
Oh, okay. I don't know a lot about Pink Floyd.
Okay, one last thing. So the finale, when Mary Jane falls from the bridge in slow motion, immediately as she starts falling, the piano and drums from the beginning of Great Gig in the Sky come in, and it's just the perfect music to be playing over someone who's falling in slow motion. It's perfect. And then Peter and what's his name, Osborne's final fight, or during the yelling of "Great Gig in the Sky," it's perfect. It fits the scene so well. And then as like the fight's getting more desperate, it's like the singing kind of lowers, and it just fits the desperation of it. You know, I think I understand what Sam Raimi was going for, and I think he did it on purpose. There's no way you can convince me he didn't. It fits so well, and the only time it doesn't work is at the end when Great King in the Sky ends and then Money plays for the funeral scene. It just doesn't work, but that's the only time it doesn't work.
Nah, I think that works.
Octavia Spencer is in this movie.
Octavia Spencer is actually the guitarist for Pink Floyd.
Anyways,
Right.
wow, that was all very informative. I'm going to the bathroom.
Okay. Frankie, you also going to the bathroom?
Yes.
Seamless edit. Okay, we should go into our favorite thing about our favorite scene of Spider-Man 1, our least favorite scene, and then our rating. Okay. My favorite scene is the final fight between Norman and Peter, and my least favorite scene is anything with Mary Jane.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. My favorite scene is... It's hard because it's a tie, because they're two of my favorite scenes in like any movie ever. But the cage match between Spider-Man and Randy Savage is probably one of my favorite cinematic scenes ever.
Did your husband make that?
But
Jake only likes that scene because he's homophobic.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, no,
not like I'm a gay. Oh wait, I am. I came out.
But probably I just love the first appearance of the Green Goblin when he vaporizes all of the people that screwed him out of his company, and when Spider-Man's bouncing on all the different balloons, and it's a really, really fun action scene, and it feels super Spider-Man-y, and I love it.
Okay. What's your least favorite scene?
Oh, yeah. Richard's answer. She's so bad in this movie.
She's awful.
In all the movies, but especially in this movie for me. I can't stand her.
Okay, my favorite scene is kind of cheesy. I like the with great power comes great responsibility monologue scene.
That's a good scene, though.
It's that perfect, like, superhero, like, what they need to hear before they become the superhero scene. It's like, it's directed well, it's acted amazingly by both parts, and it's just very personal, and it's just really great. And then my least favorite, what was it? I had it at the top of my head, and now I'm drunk and forgot it. Oh, no!
Oh, no.
Just go with our answer.
I'm gonna. Yeah, I mean, it is partially. Oh no! Now I remember. It is her still. It's the scene when he's trying to take photos of her, and she's fake acting fake poses. She like holds her hands up, like It's like fuck you.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we want to give our ratings now? I'm giving Spider-Man 1 an A-.
Oh, we're doing letter grades?
You guys can do out of 10 if you want. I do.
I give Spider-Man 1 an 8 out of 10.
Nice.
I give it a 8 out of 10.
Nice. We all have the same grade.
Solid 8 out of 10.
If I were to do a number, it would be 8. So, all right, nice.
It's a good movie. I can't deny that.
It's great.
All right, now we're moving on to the Empire Strikes Back of Spider-Man.
All right,
movies.
time to blow through the worst one. Let's get through this real quick.
Spider-Man.
2 out of 10. Move on to Spider-Man 3.
Never a copyright.
All right.
I think Spider-Man 2 has improved on Spider-Man 1 in almost every single way. I think it's better. Aside from one thing, I think it's better in every way. Every character gets better. Mary Jane is still bad. The fight scenes are better. The CGI is so much better.
We don't have Did we talk about? Yeah, we did talk about Mannequin Spider-Man.
Yeah, the camera work is way better. I think the villains, the writing for the villain is way better.
Doc Ock gets the story he deserves.
Guys, the CG for Doc Ock's arms. Oh my
fantastic.
god!
It's a lot of practical effects
it's so
too,
good.
though.
Yeah, it is.
His shorter arms are practical.
What I think why the CG works so well to this day is because it's edited seamlessly into the practical effects to the point where you could barely tell the difference.
The only time it's CG, I think, is when they extend.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they become super long, which I do have a problem with because how the fuck does that work? But like...
Okay, if we wanted to nitpick the practicalities of this movie, we could talk all day. Like, what was the train doing? Was it just going on a track that they knew didn't have an ending?
Oh, we'll talk about the train.
Okay.
The train's
I watched a fucking... I sent the Snapchat that I watched a video of the science behind Spider-Man, and that scene is fully, like, scientifically proven to work.
Nice.
Because it's distribution of weight.
Okay.
Pretty much.
I love...
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think now that we're going over these, I think now I'm starting to see the picture a little more of... Because Sam Raimi's really good at practical effects. I think I'm probably the only person in here who's seen Evil Dead.
I have not seen it.
I have not seen the Evil Dead.
Okay, Evil Dead has really, really amazing practical effects for like 1980, 90 or whenever it came out. It was it was just a really old movie, great. And there's a lot of practical effects in that movie, and they come off as really, really well done. It's kind of like The Thing, but like super campy. In terms of practical effects and how instrumental they were making that movie really good. But I think he just kind of probably saw the success of CGI in 2002 and tried to make it work for the first one, and it just kind of didn't. So maybe because of how successful the first one was, they realized, oh, let's just make this guy do what he's good at, and we'll give him access to practical effects and also CGI with more funding, and now it comes out looking amazing.
Yeah.
That's probably what happened in my canonical mind. That's what I'm going to say happened.
I think that sounds reasonable, because I think this movie has a bigger budget, because it was the first one. Successful. Like, you could tell with all the fight scenes, a lot of the CG, like, you can tell it's CG, but it still looks really, really good. And I think the fight scenes between Peter and Doc Ock were so good because Doc Ock's motivation was done so well. Like, he's mad at himself for how he messed up with his wife, and now he wants to finish his project. And he's just so jaded, he doesn't care anymore. And
also he's got that chip that's making
the arms that are like turning him crazy.
Yeah, the arms are turning him crazy.
Can we talk? How much of a punch can that man pack?
Yeah, what?
Like, he gets the shit beat out of him, and he's still going.
One thing I kept thinking of was, like, Spider-Man has super strength, and, like, he's a superhuman, so when he takes punches like that and he survives, it's, like, understandable. But Doc Ock, he's just a guy with mechanical arms. He shouldn't be able to survive all those Spider-Man punches, but... Whatever.
So in this is addressed in multiple Spider-Man comics, interestingly enough, because so many people say, like,
Baby Yoda isn't actually Yoda.
There are 4 Spider-Man lightsaber types, and Kylo Ren should have known what each one of them were. And that's... I actually read that comment once, and it gave me cancer.
Ooh, beautiful.
Continue.
Because Spider-Man is very, very well known to be one of the strongest superheroes like ever, based just off of like super strength alone. And they address it so many times, like, how do you not just like blow somebody's head off when you punch them in the face? And he's like, I am 100% like holding back 80% all my punches.
That's
because
funny.
like he would kill somebody 17 times over if he did his full strength on anybody. And so I just go into like every movie just assuming that Spider-Man is not hitting nearly as hard as he can possibly hit, because he's crazy.
He's a good boy.
I think that this movie makes all the characters better. Like, Peter talking about his uncle and how it affects him and how he's, like, scared to be Spider-Man and he doesn't really know where he's going in life. It makes him such a more interesting character than if he knew what he wanted to do with life, and he knew of everything, and he was sure of everything. Like, he has a lot of internal conflict, and it makes for a really great character.
Yeah, because being a superhero isn't a job. Like, you don't get paid to be a superhero. Exactly. So I like how they go around that of, like, he loses his job because he's a superhero, but he knows he can't just drop it because, like, he's saving people's lives. So it's like, I like that, that dynamic that they established in this movie. That's, like, the more realistic angle of, if you're a superhero and you're not making any money, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
He's behind on his rent, he's failing his classes, and his relationships aren't. Like, you see what a real superhero is. You don't see the fucking Avengers where it's like, yeah, Tony Stark's got my bills covered.
Yeah, no, we're all just getting paid to do this, yeah.
He's just him and himself.
Yeah. It's just him, and this movie doesn't give a shit about building up a universe and side movies, and like it's one of my biggest pet peeves in like modern superhero movies where they introduce a character just to like potentially set up another movie for that character, and it's like
they do.
Are we watching a movie or are we watching an ad?
They did, Rich.
What? With what?
When they're trying to discover the name for Doc Ock, he goes, "What about Doctor Strange?" And fucking your favorite character goes, no, that's taken.
Oh, so what?
They set up for Doctor Strange.
Were they really going to add it into these movies?
I couldn't find anything, but it is a
joke
line.
Then. That was just a joke.
I mean,
I think it was just an in-universe joke, yeah.
It's still an in-universe joke, so it's still in the universe, and Sony could have ran with it.
I mean, Sony wasn't as shitty of a company then as they are now.
Yeah, I mean, that's debatable.
And I don't think they expected to buy out everything
Marvel.
At that point, yeah.
I think J.K. Simmons...
everyone was ready to. Let's be honest. Everyone was ready to buy out Marvel by then.
Yeah. Well, no, not at this point.
I mean, it was starting to go downhill.
Okay. I think that J. Jonah Jameson is funnier in this movie than he was in the previous movie. I think he was...
Because they gave him more screen time.
Yeah. He was so great.
Yeah. They realized how important he was to most scenes, and they're like, well, gotta give him more screen time. And they did it well. They didn't just make him, like... They didn't lose his character by forcing him in a little more, which is really, really nice, because a lot of movies do that, and it stinks.
Yeah.
Like, this thing was popular with the test audiences. Let's throw it in more.
Remember J. Jonah Jameson? Hey, you shut your fucking mouth about porgs. Don't you dare come at them.
Baby Yoda, baby Yoda.
Porgs are cuter.
How dare you?
Is this going to be a fight?
Let's save it for later.
Save it for when we talk about Porgs, the movie.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
So, what do you guys think of Doc Ock? Did you like him?
I think Doc Ock is an amazing villain.
I agree.
I will not say he is better than Willem Dafoe, but it's amazingly written.
Yeah. I think my one thing that I think this movie did worse than Spider-Man 1 was I don't think the actor that played Doc Ock was as good as Willem Dafoe.
I think he's great for the part.
Yeah, I think he's great for the part, but...
Yeah, he does good.
Like, for the part... I don't think he did as good of a job as Willem Dafoe did for his part. You know what I mean?
I don't think they can get someone to match Willem Dafoe, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
like, Willem Dafoe is Green Goblin. Like I said, my problem is with the whole trilogy is that they kill all their villains. Like, you don't save them to, like, grow and we get to see them get more and more evil. It's just like, Green Goblin, and he's dead.
Okay, but, like, it was that was Green Goblin's movie. This is Doc Ock's movie.
But we, like, in the I don't mean to bring up the MCU again, but, like, in the MCU, we see a lot of villains go away, and then we don't see them in the sequel. Like, you could just put him in, like, that high-security prison, like, the Eagle, or whatever the fuck is, the Hawk is in fucking...
the Vulture?
Yeah. Vulture? Oops.
Yeah, the Vulture. Yeah,
the Vulture.
They could. I like the more definitive endings. I think it feels like a more satisfying conclusion to movies that at this time, as what we know of superhero movies, it's like, oh, why couldn't they save that character for the 5th installment 17 years down the line? But like at the time that they made these, it's like, oh, that's a nice Nice, good ending to my movie.
Yeah, I think
that's
that's my
redeeming.
problems I'm thinking of now. But, like, I would have loved to see more Willem Dafoe Goblin. And not... Now we get to talk about
Hey,
James
we
Franco
did
being
get to
fucking
see more
shitty.
of him because he came up in the mirror.
That's true. He came back in the mirror.
No.
He's in all 3 movies.
He is in all 3 movies.
So you're not
but
right.
Is he?
You're not right.
But is he? We don't get to see him fly around on his little fucking board, do
Because
we?
he's dead.
Rip!
Okay, the fight scene. I think the best fight scene of the whole trilogy is the train scene. Spider-Man and Doc Ock on the train fucking duking it out, and then Spider-Man saves the train.
Ooh.
It's so good.
Okay, that train.
Oh my god, it was so good.
Because I was going to talk about because now we're at that point where they can CGI everything. I want to know where in New York City this fucking 4-story train route is.
Yeah, wait, hold on. So, little known fact here. I did want to bring this up about the train scene. Not many people know this, but very, very little known fact. I like to stress this, that Sam Raimi, as we know, he likes practical effects. He wanted the movie to have almost entirely practical effects.
Yeah.
Insert CGI as little as possible. So when people talk about the greatest practical stunts in all of film, they start with actors like, Jackie Chan, Tom Cruise, all their own stunts and, putting themselves in harm's way. But nobody mentions the incredible feats of Tobey Maguire to literally stop a moving train in a Spider-Man costume. Can we just reflect on how much strength it takes for a human being to stop a moving train like that? I mean, it's so just nobody
the
understands
above-ground
this.
train in the middle of Manhattan that everyone takes daily. That totally exists.
Yeah, you see, kids, back in my day, we had real actors who would actually do those stunts.
Back in my day, we had an above-ground subway in Manhattan.
To film Apollo 13, we actually sent Tom Hanks to the fucking moon.
Come on, kids.
Kids these
They
days.
just don't
You
understand.
think that shit was
Take movies for
staged?
granted.
Nah, we almost killed Tom Hanks.
Matt Damon actually died to film Interstellar.
I don't know why when you said Matt Damon, and I was like, my mind went straight to Stuck on You.
Anyways, Spider-Man. Okay, one thing that made me wince was when Doc Ock takes the shard of the building and throws it at Spider-Man, and instead of just dodging it, Spider-Man catches it with a web and just flings it back at him.
I love when he does that.
I winced. I was like, oh my god, that's sick.
Yeah.
I will say the fight scenes in this one are probably some of my favorite fight scenes ever.
Yeah, totally.
Like, this one fully drawed me in. Like, I watched a lot of the first one through my phone, but like this one I was like, yes, bitch, work. You want to know which one really encapsulated me? The third one.
We're not there yet.
You know what stinks is we're probably going to cut the second one's discussion short to talk about the third one because it's so much more like a garbage train wreck.
All right, before we get to the third one, I want to say
my favorite scene.
Okay, so I realized that some of the lines Mary Jane gets in this movie are just fucking terrible. I wrote two of them down.
All the movies.
I wrote two of them down because I couldn't not with these two. All right.
Please share.
So Peter calls her and she doesn't answer. So her voicemail comes in, and what she says for her voicemail is, "Hi, it's me. Sing your song at the beep."
Oh yeah,
Who does
love
and then
that.
you hear it again in the third one. Okay.
Yeah.
And then another one. Peter says, "I've been reading poetry," and then Mary Jane replies with, "I don't even know what that means."
What? No, that's not the line.
I don't understand what that means. I rewound this twice.
Is that the line?
Yeah, that's a real line in these movies.
I remember like parts of that's what the line was. Oh,
yeah. Mary Jane, it's not that complicated.
Yikes.
He's been reading poetry. She's terrible.
Well,
even in this movie, she's terrible. This is the best movie, and she's terrible in it. Mm-hmm. All right. Do we have anything else to say about this?
Besides pizza time.
Pizza time.
Oh, we didn't even talk about
pizza time.
We didn't talk about Bones.
Oh, what? Oh, say your thing about Bones.
Bones is the pizza time lady.
That's it.
Okay. Oh, one more thing I want to point out. Okay. Whenever I say the CG in the prequels for the Star Wars movies are terrible, some people who like those movies, who are dumb, will say, yeah, but it was in the 2000s, so obviously it wasn't going to be up to today's standards. Okay, you know what came out a year before Revenge of the Sith came out? Spider-Man 2. And the CGI in this movie is incredible, and it still holds up to this day for the most part. I'll say for the most part. And it looks so much better than Revenge of the Sith, which came out a year later.
Yeah, things are just like a little extra shiny.
Yeah. I just wanted to rag on the prequels for a second. All right.
Yeah.
Do we want to say our favorites?
Attack of the Clones came out as the same year as the first one.
Yeah.
Oh no, we didn't talk about James Franco's shitty acting beginning.
All right, go for it. Say what you need to say.
Fucking James Franco's character. His father is revealed to be the Green Goblin, and he still takes his side.
Yeah. Oh, I love how James Franco, like they make him seem like he's super rich, and he's like funding that science project, and the science project, it fucks up, and he just says,
"He found the rubber band on the floor."
He goes, "I have nothing left except for Spider-Man." I was gonna be like, dude, you're rich and you're only investing in one project that's super risky and has never been proven to work before?
You're gonna build a sun?
Yeah, like that was your only investment?
That was your plan?
That's what you chose?
This is why your dad's disappointed in you.
Speaking of that, pet peeve of mine for every movie where like someone's parent is dead, people in every scene of this movie go over to him and like, your dad would be proud. Yeah, it's so annoying.
He wouldn't.
It's so annoying. Wouldn't. That's not how real life works. It'd be super awkward if someone just came over to you every like other day and was like, your dad would be proud.
Richard, that's not how your life's like?
No, it's not what my life is like. People don't do that because that'd be awkward as hell because then we're talking about my dead dad and then I'd be sad. So that's why I hate it in movies when like, it's just so annoying when there's like a dead parent in movies and they just do not handle it realistically at all.
Hey, Rich. Your dad would be proud.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah, sitting here talking about the trilogy of Spider-Man movies.
I'm just yelling in my room alone to my friends.
That's what you do every... Spider!
Yeah.
I want pictures of Spider-Man!
I want pictures of Spider-Man now!
Anyways.
But yeah.
Okay, but he says, like, I have nothing left but Spider-Man, and then he still has his mansion, so I guess, I don't know, it just seemed inconsistent.
No, it's a penthouse, you dumb fuck.
You're right. Also, I love how he's opening the sun, like, Doc Ock is opening a sun, and the only...
Doc Ock is creating a sun to create vital energy.
Yeah, and the only personal protective equipment he gives out is a pair of goggles to himself.
Yeah, no one else can shit. He's a fucking sun, and yet here he is, just like
Don't worry, guys, I got this. He just puts on goggles for himself. He's like, don't worry about it. I also love that this movie wouldn't take place if they just like did this world-ending experiment like outside of New York City. Not in one of the most densely populated metro areas in the entire world.
Yeah, they could have moved that to like Kansas.
No, it's fine. We gotta do it in the city.
No, we gotta do it in fucking New York.
Yo, if this fails, it'll be sick.
They could drive an hour north and it'd be desolate.
That's true. Nah. It'd be absolutely desolate.
It'd be in Jakestown.
Yeah, they could go halfway to Binghamton, and there you go. You'd be fine.
Boom. Go into a fucking cornfield, build a sun.
All right.
Nobody would care.
Do we have anything else to say about this, or do we want to finish Spider-Man 2 and get into 3?
I think we should.
Yeah,
okay,
we should.
Favorite scene?
My favorite scene is the train scene, and my least favorite scene is... I'm caught between every scene Mary Jane is in and every scene Mary Jane is in.
Oh my god.
Alright, those are my answers.
Yeah, I pretty much echo almost the same things. My favorite moment was when Tobey Maguire stopped a train, and my least favorite moment is when Mary Jane just left a wedding to go to some guy that turned her down.
Oh my god!
She's like, all right, I'm not getting married to this astronaut.
She cheats on everyone.
You know, that's also a setup for Venom that they chose was too expensive.
She just walks out. She just leaves.
Oh, okay.
She's like, all right, bye.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I completely forgot to mention the astronaut. So this guy is the son of J. Jonah Jameson. And I was like, wow. He's one of the most charismatic characters in this whole thing. I wonder what his son is going to be like.
Boring little bitch.
Yeah, his son is a blank sheet of paper. He's so boring. Yeah. He is, if he was a spice, he'd be flour. Bob's Burgers. I don't remember.
I think he has 2 lines.
Yeah.
Probably.
All right. Jake, Frankie, your favorite scene, your least favorite scene.
Okay, my favorite scene is, of course, the train stopping scene. I'm with Jake on that. It's iconic. It's memorable. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I think you may have cut out.
Are you listening or are you on Grindr this time again?
No, I don't have my phone. It's just cutting. But so the train scene, of course, and my least favorite scene is when Doc Ock throws the car at Peter Parker, not knowing that he's Spider-Man. He's not gonna die from that.
Yeah.
He doesn't care at that point.
He's just like, I'm gonna throw a car. He doesn't know shit. He would have died.
Yeah.
If he wasn't Spider-Man.
That reminds me. Keep going.
Come on, dude. I gotta get this dude's attention. Here's a car through a cafe window.
Yeah. That reminds me.
It's even stupider. Oh.
You go.
I was gonna say, it's just even stupider because Harry, the reason why he throws the car is because Harry tells him that Peter is the link to finding Spider-Man. So he throws a car at Peter in the middle of a cafe when
Peter Parker.
He would just
not
kill him.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he would just kill him. How are you gonna find Spider-Man if you just kill the guy that is your link to Spider-Man?
To be your link.
It makes no sense.
It makes 0 sense.
You know what else makes 0 sense?
All of Spider-Man 3.
Doc Ock is holding Harry Osborn over the building, and he's like, "Give me the whatever the thing is, the sun."
The sun rock.
Yeah, the sun rock. And Harry's like, "Bring me Peter, and I'll give you the rock." And it's he could just kill you.
Bring me Spidey.
Doc Ock could just be like, "No, I'll drop you off this building."
We watched him rip out a vase before. What's to stop him this time?
Yeah, and it was just in a safe behind a painting. You'd think if Doc Ock...
We didn't talk about when he robs the bank of coins.
That was so cool.
I
cool, but why is he stealing coins?
I love how dumb that is.
Yeah, it's dumb. Who cares?
You know, there is actual script writing behind it.
What?
They're priceless coins from a sunken pirate ship, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, right. But they never bring it up.
Oh,
so he's just robbing a bank of coins.
Why does
it's
Aunt
cool
May,
with just the coins, but
why does Aunt May kick the bank teller?
Because she thinks she's kicking Peter because she's senile.
All right. Do we want to tell our grades for Spider-Man 2? It sounds like we really want to talk about Spider-Man 3.
Oh, it's a 9.5.
Ooh. Jake?
9.
I'll give it. Probably give it a 9, I guess. Between 8.5, 9, 8.75. Yeah, I'm going with 8.75.
I would.
Fuck off.
All right, I would give it an A, so 9 out of 10. Really love it. Yeah. I think it's awesome. I think, aside from a few dumb writing decisions, it's perfect for what it's trying to be. If Mary Jane wasn't in it, it'd be a perfect 10.
Are we getting into the meat and potatoes finally?
All right.
This is what it's all built up to, really.
Spider-Man 3!
Who wants to start?
I will.
Okay.
Let's just go straight into James Franco. Let's talk about how his shitty character became shittier to the shittiest. Like, his character progression is the fucking we will get to his shitty, like, practical effect burnt later in the end. Yeah. But, like, what the fuck? Like, your father is shown to be this awful villain. You find his lair, and you're still on his side? You still chose to be on your father's shitty side. I spit on my computer. Like, come on, dude. Like, come on. Oh, I fucking hate him. And then he gets the shit beat out of him and he gets amnesia. And it's bad. Like, oh, great. I hope this sticks. It doesn't. The pie is great.
So good.
And then he disappears in 2 seconds.
Jake, what did you think of Spider-Man 3?
This movie's... It's baffling to me that I don't know who else has seen the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
I have not.
I saw both of them in theaters.
Okay, I also saw both of them in theaters. This movie has the exact same problem as Amazing Spider-Man 2 does, which is like over villain, over plot. Like, there are too many things happening and too many villains, which is really stupid.
Edgy Spider-Man.
It makes for a really bad ending. See, like, it's like you can't keep track of everything that's going on.
I thought the ending to Amazing Spider-Man 2 was good with the killing. Oh, spoiler! But the killing of Gwen Stacy.
We're not talking about that this podcast.
But
no, and we never will.
For Richard, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 has another Green Goblin. It has Electro, and it has there's a
Rhino.
third one, and it has Rhino.
Rhino's
yeah.
But what's
Fun fact:
other dude?
The only one of Hans Zimmer's scores that isn't on Spotify is the score he did for Amazing Spider-Man 2, because he had to do it with Pharrell Williams.
Oh, God. Also, Danny Elfman for the score of this one. You know, everyone's favorite Coachella headliner, Danny Elfman, dropped out for Spider-Man 3.
Wow.
All right, here's my thing with Spider-Man 3. I don't think it's a bad movie.
It's not awful.
I enjoy it. I think it's a big mixed bag, but overall, I enjoy watching it, and I would watch it again. I think that this movie, weirdly enough, has a lot of the same problems that Rise of Skywalker did, as to where they're just trying to do too much in not enough time, and they're retconning things that should not be retconned, like Sandman being the real killer of Uncle Ben. I think that's the movie's biggest crime, is that, to me, because it's such a foundational element of... I'll get to that. It's such a foundational element of Peter Parker's character. And, like, similarly with Rey, her foundation of her character was that anyone can be special. It doesn't matter what your background is. And, like, this movie and Rise of Skywalker retconned those very, very key elements of these characters that were started in the first movie. So...
I have to disagree.
Like... Let's keep it to... Let's not get a big discussion about Star Wars, but what do you mean you disagree?
I disagree. I haven't seen Rise of Skywalker yet, but I disagree in the fact that it can be anyone. But because he's still randomly bit by a spider, it's not the fucking musical plot that I had to fucking watch a 40-minute video
Okay, wait, but I didn't mean like a one-to-one comparison. I mean like... What I mean... What I'm trying to complain about this is that it's... Both movies retcon something important from the first two movies, right? So, like what they did with Rey and what this one does with how Uncle Ben dies.
I do believe in the retcon, but it's not the same sort of retcon because Spider-Man is still that nerdy kid from Queens that gets fucking bit by a spider and chosen to be this superhero. But I haven't seen Rise of Skywalker.
I think this movie, Spider-Man 3, is way better than Rise of Skywalker. So
Yes, I will
That
agree
is
with that.
whoa. Now I really need to see it.
I will definitely.
That is a
agree with that.
huge statement.
Oh yeah, imagine
Yeah.
like all the complaints you have about this movie. Imagine that, but way worse. And that's basically Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
Yeah, as much as like this movie's like very clustered and like messy, Rise of Skywalker gave me like a headache watching it.
Yeah.
Like I was like
Like
this
we
is
even
too
have
fast.
we haven't even
I don't know
tapped
what's
into
going
Venom
on.
yet.
But yeah, I think I can understand. I think the only thing is like, can you? Because the weird thing is that nobody complained about like how Uncle Ben was killed, and then I think Sam Raimi just took it in a weird, different direction.
Well,
so I don't really know if it's like retconning. It's more just like he messed it up and like did a stupid thing with it by taking it in a different direction than most Spider-Man material has gone.
No, the problem was that Sam Raimi had an idea for the third movie, and Sony intervened that he had to change a lot of shit, like the
that
Venom.
Sounds about right.
It was only supposed to be Sandman, and fucking James Franco being New Gob, or whatever the fuck that fucking ski snowboarder looking motherfucker was.
I think that would make it better. Like either take out Sandman or Venom, and then the movie's infinitely better. I mean, leave James Franco as
Venom last minute.
Osborn because he needs to be there. But I'd say take out. I don't know which one.
I say drop Sandman. I easily say drop Sandman. There's no reason.
Yeah,
for Sandman
I say drop.
I say easily drop Venom.
No.
How are y'all gonna defend Topher Grace?
Hear me out.
Defend Topher Grace. Okay. Go.
Here's what I'll say about Venom. I think with that, I love how Tom Hardy and Venom work together. I love how when Venom looks at Tom Hardy and he's like, I was also a loser on my planet. And I love how Eminem wrote a song that should have gotten an Oscar. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about
the we're talking about the wrong movie, you dumb bitch.
Venom, gotta go get him. Okay, for real, though. I want to explain my
Tom
own
Hardy's
personal
Venom's
bias.
a better Venom.
My own personal bias is I grew up on that 70s show. So in my mind, Topher Grace can do no wrong. Have you ever seen Black Klansman? He plays the head of the Ku Klux Klan, and he basically
that movie deserved so many more awards.
Okay, he literally played the head of the Ku Klux Klan, just like he played Eric Foreman in that 70s show. It was hilarious to me for that. But
it's amazing.
I think Topher Grace is not the problem with the character. I think the problem with the character...
Topher Grace is so the problem!
No, it was the writing.
No, he's not.
You could put Daniel Day-Lewis in that role and he would do nothing with the writing because the writing was so bad.
Well, I mean, I will say this in defense of Sam Raimi. He didn't want to put Venom in the third movie. He was forced to.
That's true, yeah.
And he literally in interviews says he has no any research into Venom. He was just told, "Here's Venom, do it."
He just heard Eminem perform that song, and he was like, "I know."
Okay.
Yeah. It's because that's why I would be so much more okay with this movie is if you took Sandman out, is because all Venom needs is a really good. Venom's an anti-hero for a reason. Is that if you give half of the movie to Spider-Man and maybe dealing with James Franco stuff, and then you give the other entire half to Topher Grace and Venom and a slow build up to, okay, this is how this character was born, basically, not just pictures or something. I don't know, whatever, who cares? Then it would be way more impactful and way more interesting because Topher Grace is a great actor, and I think he would have done great if you gave him a chance to do really well in this. But
I mean, let's talk about the fact when he reveals that he's dating Gwen Stacy, played by Bryce Dallas Howard.
Played by Bryce Dallas Howard.
Bad!
He just walks up behind the police captain and he's like, "Oh, that's Gwen." And the police captain's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm Eddie Brock, and I'm dating your daughter, and I'm
dating your daughter."
Wow, that's subtle writing. Good job, guys.
Wow, look at that.
You hit it out of the
And then
park.
we don't see James Cromwell again. He plays the captain of Manhattan, and we see him for 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's not good. And okay, since we're talking about Gwen Stacy, I had to write something down for Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy is the police captain's daughter, who is also Eddie Brock's love interest, and she's Peter's science partner.
And his alternate love interest in the black suit.
So she's connected to so much that it would seem like
her shitty writing.
So you'd think that she has something to do in the story, and she really doesn't.
See, my thought was like Spider-Man 4, Spider-Gwen, and then I read that Spider-Gwen wasn't a thing until 2014.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, I thought that would have been a great setup, like, Spider-Man all of a sudden fucking Gwen Stacy's on the scene, and Bryce Dallas Howard to play Spider-Gwen is amazing. I love Bryce Dallas Howard so much.
Bryce Dallas Howard is really, really good at being surrounded people who are way more talented than she is in every movie she's in.
When she's alone, she's great, but when she's around better people, it's like, oh, she's not as great. You know what? I will defend her till the end of time in?
What?
That episode of Black Mirror she's in.
I have not seen it.
Oh, it's so good! But, she also, fun fact, she directed an episode of The Mandalorian.
Really?
Huh.
It was my favorite episode. Like, I was like, wow, this episode was great. Directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. What?
That's weird.
She directs, Jake, did you watch The Mandalorian?
I watched up to 3.
Oh, no, she directs episode 5.
Okay. Well,
she directs, it's amazing. And I was like, oh, this is great. And then all of a sudden, Bryce Dallas Howard appeared. And I was like, whoa! But she is great.
Very, very different in this movie, and I like the look. I think she pulls off the look very well.
Okay,
she pulls off Gwen Stacy comic-wise very well. Better, I will say, not acting-wise better than Emma Stone, but look-wise way better than Emma Stone.
Okay, so speaking of Gwen Stacy, they have this parade, and she goes, and now, welcome your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And it's like, Spider-Man wants to keep his identity a secret. Did any of them communicate with Spider-Man about when to show up? How'd they know he was going to be there? And also, Spidey comes up on stage next to her, and then the audience just starts yelling, kiss him, kiss him.
Kiss.
What? And then the one little kid is like, no, Spidey, don't do it. And I'm like, yeah, don't do it.
I like that. Yeah,
you
want
to propose to Mary Jane, and she's watching, and you know she's watching, and then he kisses her anyway.
Yeah.
Like, what a dick.
Can we talk about how much of a dick Peter Parker is through this entire film?
Really bad.
Like, he doesn't, like, even before he's introduced to Venom, he's still an asshole.
Yeah.
Did you just do the Eminem Venom voice?
No.
Shut up. Stop. Anyways, he's a dick!
Yeah.
Like, the scene when he's gonna propose the first time, he's still not introduced to the Venom embryoid, or whatever the fuck it's called. And symbiote. He's still just like, symbioid. Whatever. And he's still a dick. He's still like, oh, I totally get it. You know, as Spider-Man. Like, shut up.
Yeah. Mary Jane's complaining about the bad review she got, and Spider-Man's just like, oh, well, a lot of people don't like Spider-Man. It's like, dude, this isn't about you.
This is not about you.
Like, your girlfriend's upset about something, and you just make it about yourself?
He made... I don't even know why she takes him back in the end.
I don't know either. I don't know why anyone loves anyone in this movie. Everyone's a dick.
Jane Franco.
Every
Sandman.
Is a dick.
Venom. Gwen Stacy. She's a bitch. She's a model.
Mary Jane, like, almost cheats on Peter with Harry. Peter cheats on Mary Jane with Gwen Stacy.
They were broken up. I will give him that.
Stacy. There's a love Pentagon in this movie.
Wait, no. The thing is, Eddie Brock introduces himself as I'm dating your daughter, but then it's later revealed that they only went on one date.
Yeah. Why would he say that then?
Because he's fucking...
He's really excited.
I don't like the way they produced Eddie Brock. I don't care what you fucking have to say about Topher Grace. I loved that 70s show so much, but fuck Topher Grace as Eddie Brock. No. It doesn't make sense.
No, okay. No. Topher Grace... Yeah.
Why is there Trailman?
The problem with Venom and Eddie Brock isn't Topher Grace. The problem is the writing. The writing for him is terrible. Topher Grace does everything they ask him to do well. I hate it when people say that the problem with this movie is Topher Grace. Like, yeah.
It's Venom in general. It's not Topher Grace. It's Venom.
No, I've heard people say that it's Topher Grace as an actor. That's the problem with this movie.
No, Topher Grace was given what he was given. It's Venom. Venom fucking sucked because Sam Raimi had no idea what the fuck to do with him.
Yeah.
He was just throwing Venom.
Yeah, like a meteor crashes at the beginning of the movie and now there's Venom? Like...
Do you know that, the boyfriend from the last movie, the editor's boyfriend, son, whatever the fuck, was supposed to go to space and introduce Venom, but because of budget cuts, they didn't do it.
Yeah.
They sent Tom Hanks to space for Apollo 13, why not?
Yeah, why couldn't they send J. Jonah Jameson's son?
Whatever the fuck that actor's name is who plays her boyfriend in the second movie.
Well, you know what? I'm glad they didn't, because he was a stale piece of wood. Like, what? I want to see him alone? No.
He's supposed to turn into the Space Wolf, too. He's another villain.
Space Wolf?
He is.
Space Wolf. I don't know if that's his proper name, but that's pretty much what he is.
Okay,
he is a major character outside of Spider-Man 2. Yeah.
Can we talk about edgy Peter Parker dancing?
Oh no.
Here we
to it.
Do we start with the jazz club? Do we start later on with the jazz club scene, or do we start with the street scene?
Let's just do both.
Let's start with the street scene. I watched that scene in mute just to get the full effect.
Yeah, that video that replaces all of the music with realistic sound effects is one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
and it makes me shudder harder than any video I've ever watched because it's just so painful. Because it's
it's so bad and it's so
Tobey
real.
Maguire was going through when he had that scene happening. That's what he had to act out without the music. It's so painful.
Yeah, this is why I'm saying Topher Grace isn't the problem, because it's like Tobey Maguire was supposed to do that. How do you expect Topher Grace to?
Well, that's still the Venom problem. That wouldn't have been a problem if Venom wasn't written into the movie.
When Peter's dancing in the jazz club in front of his ex-girlfriend Mary Jane, I cringed so hard.
I couldn't tell if that scene was bad or good.
It was terrible. What do you mean you couldn't tell?
Because part of it's oh, he's being that Venom dick, but other parts is this is just bad.
Oh my god.
That was the only good Venom taking over scene. He's just I'm gonna be the biggest dick to be the biggest dick.
Can we talk about the amnesia?
Oh, this is the only time I like James Franco in the entire movie series.
I was gonna say that the only time I've ever felt chemistry between anybody is when James Franco and Kirsten
has amnesia.
Kunst or whatever her name is are
Kirsten Dunst
hooking up basically.
And they have that kiss, and I'm okay, I can feel this.
Making food and they're doing fun things and they're
do you want to know a fun fact?
All right, this is cool.
Yeah, Jake, they act like a normal person instead of robots being told to act like they're in love.
Yeah.
Who wants to know a fun fact about the whole James Franco storyline?
Go for it.
Oh. Oh, no.
So he's dead. So the whole point is he's using that gas his dad used that gives him a bad side, and the bad side is his father. And the butler that gives him that whole monologue is supposed to have a much bigger part where that's his good side and he's not real.
Ooh.
Right? And then the whole scene, but it does kind of make the whole scene where he's yelling, "Get food! I need food! People are coming over!" And then there's no food. It's supposed to make more sense.
Speaking of food, did you notice how, awful that omelet looked?
It did look pretty bad.
He flipped it over, and Mary Jane is like, "Oh, it looks so good." And I'm like, "Bitch, that's raw. That is not edible."
Yeah, it's
Can we talk about the landlord's daughter?
Yes, she loves Peter.
I thought she was a better love interest in the entire film series.
Yeah.
I rooted for them more.
He's just yeah,
because she was a better actor. Go make me cookies.
Yeah,
Do you have nuts?
Do
you have nuts?
Take one.
Go make some of nuts. More. I've made cookies. Cookies are hard to make.
Go make me some cookies with nuts in them.
Like, she just made you a plate
Jake,
of cookies.
you can't experience that.
It's
like, she just made it, and then she goes and makes them. She's head over heels for Peter.
Okay. So it's a 6-way. What is it?
So we've got Henry.
What's a 6? What's a polygon with 6 sides?
I think a Decepticon.
We have a love Decepticon between
Decepticon.
Peter, the neighbor girl, Mary Jane, Harry, Eddie Brock, Gwen Stacy, Harry again. It's like
Aunt May.
Yeah.
Can we get to her tea monologue?
What monologue?
The 3-minute monologue about, so then we swam to the island. Mm-hmm. And then, like, oh my god, shut up! It's just like this 3-minute monologue where he gives her... Wait, did I watch a different edition?
Why do I not remember this?
Oh, I may have watched an editor's edition.
I mean, this might have happened, and I could just have a terrible memory.
No, I remember talking about swimming to an island with Uncle Ben.
Yeah. Aunt May has like a 5-minute monologue about how Uncle Ben proposes.
Yeah,
and it's pointless.
Yeah, it's because he was thinking of proposing with the ring or whatever, and then he doesn't propose because like the ring's in the bottom of the whatever. Like Bruce Campbell's in that scene with the restaurant. I don't remember. It's something about that.
Yeah. No, it's at Aunt May's apartment because you remember she lost her house to what's his face from Community.
I don't know.
What's the Community? The soup.
I know what you're talking about. I just don't know his name.
Yeah, him.
I don't know what scene you guys are talking about. I'm looking in my memory, and I do not remember the scene. And I watched this movie today.
Yeah, it's a full-on scene. It's like a really long, stupid monologue.
Can we talk about how many conveniences there are in this movie to move the plot along?
Oh my! Can we talk about her shitty her musical?
Wait! I need to get into the conveniences first. So, Sandman just so happens to run into a top secret scientific lab where they're performing an experiment where he gets shocked into being Sandman. And then,
I mean, that's most superheroes.
And then he's running through the street and he's getting chased by police officers, and there just so happens to be a
sand truck
of sand?
Yeah, that one I will give you.
And then
that one I wanted to talk about because, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why is there a sand truck in the middle of Manhattan?
Yeah.
I keep bringing up like the fucking above ground train, the 4-level fucking train tunnel. That's not how the city works. I feel like Sam Raimi only filmed in Manhattan for Spider-Man and had never been there before.
Yeah. And then
like that's how it feels.
What else? Okay, so Peter Parker is taking off the Venom suit, and Eddie Brock just so happens to be at the same church.
It's the same church.
Like,
I think they're both in Queens. No, I can't even say the paper is located in Queens because the paper is located at the Flatiron Building.
There's one church in all of New York, I guess.
Yeah, it's not even that fucking chapel by Rock Center. It's like, I don't even know what fucking church that was.
It's just so awkward how this movie goes between, like, okay, this is the segment for Eddie Brock. This is the segment for Venom. This is the segment for Green Goblin. This is the segment for Sandman. It's like, it's just so jumbled. You gotta pick
villain one. Overloaded.
Yeah, you gotta pick one. You can't just go with all of them.
It's just far too much.
Too much.
It's far too much.
It feels so, so rushed.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even say my feelings for the beginning of Spider-Man 2 felt like they were writing as they went. Was that just me?
Was what just you? I couldn't hear.
The beginning of Spider-Man 2 felt like they were writing as they went.
I didn't get that feeling.
Spider-Man 2?
Like a little bit, and then towards the middle it felt all put together. This movie really just felt like a jumble fuck.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of studio interference for this movie.
That's what I am attributing to this one, is that it feels very... Yeah,
this is the movie Sony
studio-ish.
Put their hands too much into. Like, they
Like,
gave Sam Raimi a little bit of range in the first one.
Yeah.
They put their hand in the second one, and this one they just, like, fisted it.
It's so dumb, too, because the other two, they let Sam Raimi do what he wanted, and they made a ton of money.
The second. Yeah, that's the problem with Sony, is they feel like they know what's going on, so they have to control shit.
No, they're a bunch of old boomers that don't know what they're talking about.
That's why there was that big battle of Marvel, because I know you don't like the home movies, I'm going to call them. But the home movies, that's why Marvel wanted total control, because Sony doesn't know what the fuck to do.
No, Disney wanted total control because Disney's a greedy, terrible company.
That too, but they are also correct that Sony doesn't know what the fuck. Have you read some of the emails about Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man?
Okay, look, I have read some of the emails, but Spider-Man of the Spider-Verse, made by Sony, is the best Spider-Man movie, and it's better than any movie that Disney's made for Super.
I will say that. I will agree with that. But I feel like all Amazing Spider-Man is the true version of Sony sticking their hand into their movie.
Well, yeah, but clearly they learned from that and made Spider-Verse.
Of course, they've learned, but I don't think they can learn in a live-action form again.
We'll see.
I don't know. I don't think they could ever do a live-action Spider-Man movie. I just don't think they get
it. Here's what I'll say. I will have to say we will have to see in Spider-Verse 2 that comes out in 2021 or 2022.
I'm scared.
I hope it's just as good.
I
loved the end of that fucking movie in the setup with the fucking in the classic 60s scene. Like, I hope that's what it sticks to, but Sony, you can't fucking trust anything.
Yeah, exactly.
This podcast is pretty much just a big fuck you to Sony.
Yeah.
Look, I think I railed on Sony for a long time, but with Spider-Verse, maybe they're turning a new leaf. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, can we talk for Spider-Man 3, can we talk about the final battle and how messy it is?
That battle's... I thought it was great.
Really?
I love the final battle in Spider-Man 3. The fight scene I hate in that movie is the second one between him and Harry.
Oh, it was terrible.
That one's so bad, and then he busts out, and I was kind of ooh, turned on by Spider-Man, and then it just went downhill.
You know what I think? With the second one, I kept saying, oh my god, these visual effects are stunning. And then the fight between Harry and Peter in Spider-Man 3 is a CG nightmare.
It's horrible.
The CGI is terrible.
It's painful to look at.
Yeah. The first fight has awful CG, and then the second fight between them is just really bad choreography. The whole knives in the wall and him... come on. It's just boring. It's just predictable.
Yeah. The first one goes on forever. It just does not stop.
The snowboarding scene between some random tight alley.
Yeah, it's
that all of a sudden bursts open into a wider. That's not how fucking archaeology works. That's not the word.
That's not how geography works.
I almost said geography, but I didn't.
How long is the Stark Alley? Because they were in it for a long time.
Yeah, one, how long is it? Two, how does it widen out after a certain point? That's not how buildings work. A building just, they don't all of a sudden go, okay, I'm going apart.
How many pipes are connecting these two buildings? Because there's a lot of pipes.
And then it ends with a fucking tripwire.
Yeah. And, oh my god, he's trying to catch the ring. That looked so stupid.
That was...
that's the only part I liked.
I blocked that out of my head. That looked so bad. It looked so terrible.
The ring was so fake, though. I will say that, but that's the only part of that sequence that I enjoyed.
It looked so bad.
It really looked bad.
It's bad.
Okay, so...
It's just bad.
The final fight scene, I thought... Okay, there are things that I really like about it. I really like...
Fun fact, it's supposed to be Gwen Stacy in the taxi, but Kirsten Dunst went, then why the fuck am I here? Put me in that fucking taxi.
Okay, that's one thing that pissed me off. Okay, people complain about in Star Wars how many Death Stars there are, which is something that I think is a reasonable complaint. But
yeah, why are
this movie, every single climax in the trilogy has Mary Jane being kidnapped? Dude, the first movie...
They tried to, I will say they tried to stretch it away for that, but Kirsten Dunst went, I'm the love interest, put me in that fucking kidnap.
It worked in the first movie. It worked in the second movie, although after the second movie I was like, all right, this is a little much. And then the third movie? Like, come on.
Third.
Oh, and then Eddie Brock with the web on his web, he wrote in the sky, like, come fight me, Spider-Man.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Come here. Like, oh my
silly.
god.
Oh, it was so dumb.
So dumb. I love that we're in St. Cosmin.
Okay, I wrote this down. When they were fighting and when what's the guy's name? Oh my god, Green Goblin. When James Franco Green Goblin.
Oh, New Goblin.
Yeah,
New Goblin.
When New Goblin comes back, it cuts to these kids that are watching the fight, and one of the kids goes, "Awesome!" and then the other kid goes, "Wicked cool."
You know what kid I loved? The one that sells the camera to James.
Yeah, oh, that was so funny.
That kid is big New York energy to the max. You can get the camera for $100. Takes the camera, opens it, no film. Film is extra. Yes, bitch! Get your money!
Yeah. Speaking of Jameson, I love how he's like in anger management mode and he has to take pills and stuff.
Take pills.
And Elizabeth Banks is trying her hardest, but it's just pissing him off more. Yeah. Take your pills. Okay.
Not that one.
Not that one. It's fucking Elizabeth Banks killed it.
Oh, she's so good.
Once again, that's Elizabeth Banks.
Okay, wait. I want to get back to the ending. The final fight. So we have the way they defeat Venom, I think, is so stupid.
But that's Venom's weakness, and I can't fault them for it. I have to say that. I have to say that because you can't fault them. That's Venom's weakness from the comics.
Jake,
is that pitch?
Jake, what were you gonna say?
Yeah. I was gonna say that's just how the symbiotes kind of work.
I have no problem with that being his weakness. I have no problem with that. What I'm saying is, in this film, it was not well established before it was used to defeat him.
They didn't establish Venom at all. That's the problem.
Yeah, because like they flashed back to Peter in the church, and after he hits the bell, the symbiote like breaks free. But when I watched that the first time, I just thought it's because he ripped the symbiote off. I never realized that it was from the bell.
That's why they do that flashback to the bell.
Yeah, that was so. But like, they shouldn't have to have the flashback. They should have well established it in the scene when he takes the symbiote off.
I kind of got it, but I mean, I don't know.
We got it because we saw Venom in theaters, and two, we just know about Venom.
When I saw this movie, I didn't know what any of these villains really were back then, but yeah.
I kind of got it. I didn't know about the sound thing until I watched the new Venom movie that came out, which is awful and stop, which is awful, and I thought it was pretty good for a villain introduction or an anti-hero introduction movie.
Okay,
I like that Venom.
I have not seen it. I've only heard. The only thing I know from that movie is the Eminem song, and then the scene when Venom's like, "You see, Eddie, I was also a loser like you." Okay, one more thing I want to point out because Jake said he needs to leave at 10. One more thing I want to point out was the score when Mary Jane and Peter are like holding hands at the end, like the very end.
Because it's not Danny Elfman.
Oh, it's not Danny Elfman. All right, I realized with the score, the song that was playing had the same melody of "Where Are You Christmas" from the Grinch.
That was my thing. Is a lot of the music I felt was just trying to copy Danny Elfman.
I thought it was trying to copy the Grinch.
Which is Danny Elfman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because
now it all makes sense.
Full circle.
I think. I mean, Danny Elfman does all the scores for a lot of movies, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm 90% sure about that one.
Yeah, I mean...
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah. When it was playing, I was like, "Where are you, Christmas?" Jake, do you have anything else?
I gotta watch it back.
Danny Elfman did Grinch.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay, now it makes sense.
I mean, Danny Elfman does music for a lot of movies that people... pretty much every Tim Burton movie is a Danny Elfman score. The Spider-Man 1 and 2 are Danny Elfman. And now he's headlining Coachella.
Good. Jake, I feel like the past 10 minutes have been me and Frankie talking over you. Do you have anything you want to say?
I probably give this movie too many passes just because I've seen it a lot, and I like it for some stupid reason. I don't really know why, but it's.
I mean, I
Frankie,
have to say
we're not going to interrupt him right now.
No,
Yes,
I'm agreeing with him on this point. Is that it's one of our. It's like we can't. We know it's bad, but we give it so many passes because it's our childhood.
I don't get annoyed when I watch this movie like I do with other movies that I don't like. I'm like, oh, that's a bad movie. I get annoyed when I watch this movie. I don't want to watch it again. But this movie, I'm like, this movie is just terrible. I can't wait to watch it again. Like it's it's
I
perfect for that.
I got excited to watch this when I got to it. I was like, time to watch Spider-Man 3.
I like the
the
dumb kind of team up shit between like the new Goblin and Spider-Man in the end. That's probably my favorite part of the fight scene is like the really, really kind of interesting stuff they do with like how they combine Spider-Man using some of the Goblin stuff and then like the other way around. I thought that was fun. Besides that, that scene's a mess.
Do you know that the Sandman CGI took 3 years to create?
How long did it take?
What?
3 years.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
I mean, it's pretty good if you compare it to like the Mummy movies Sandstorms.
It looks fine, but imagine spending 3 years of your life working on the Sandman CGI.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Do we want to do favorite scene, least favorite scene, and then grade?
Should I get into Spider-Man 4 first for a quick?
Oh.
Make it like 2 minutes.
Okay, it's not really that much, but it just seemed really because Sam Raimi knew how bad Spider-Man 3 was. He wanted to make Spider-Man 4 so bad to like fix everything.
Yeah.
So what's his face? Who's in the Evil Dead movies? What's the actor's name?
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell's in all 3 movies.
Yes, he is.
And he's supposed to be, drumroll, anyone? He's supposed to be Mysterio, and that's supposed to lead up through the entire fucking series.
That's so funny.
Is that he's Mysterio. And he's supposed to fight the Vulture in the 4th one. And Anne Hathaway's in it as like the Vulture's accomplice and shit. And there's a lot of fight scene storyboards that I'll post on our new Instagram that are really cool and really awesome looking. Like this was in production until about 2011.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Like they took it took them that long to quit before they decided we're going to quit this Spider-Man series and move on to what is now the Amazing Spider-Man, which I hate acknowledging because it's so bad.
Yeah. Wow, that would have been so much more interesting.
That would have,
right?
I love Bruce Campbell. He's a really fun actor. He would have made Mysterio
They were supposed
really
to show.
good.
It was supposed to do a big time jump with a lot of cuts. Bruce Campbell was the one cut of him being revealed as Mysterio, and then it was going into this big Vulture as the only villain scene.
Nice.
Yeah, Vulture was supposed to be the only villain in the entire Spider-Man 4. And now rumor has it there's going to be a comic written by Sam Raimi, which I really, really, really want to read.
I'll read it.
I'll end up reading it too.
All right. So let's go with our favorite scene and least favorite scene. I say my favorite scene of the movie is when Sandman realizes that he's Sandman, and there's that touching emotional moment, and the CGI is actually, I think, pretty good for that scene. Yeah. It was really emotional. And my least favorite scene... Peter dancing in the jazz club. That was just awful. I could not bring myself to not physically cringe while watching it.
All right. I'll do mine. My favorite scene is a scene none of you will know. It's in the editor's cut edition. And it's the Sandman visiting his daughter in the hospital. We get more of her plotline in the editor's cut. And he comes as a giant sandcastle for her to cheer her up. No, it's a very sweet scene.
That sounds so dumb.
That does sound really dumb.
It's really nice. She like walks out into the courtyard and there's this big ass sandcastle, and it's she walks away and then he turns back into himself. Come on, that's kind of sweet.
That's fucking.
It's very emotional. And then the scene I hate the most is Tobey Maguire walking down the street to music in that same sort of jazz club scene.
All right. Jake, you're up.
My favorite scene is Peter Parker walking down the street and snapping his fingers and into the jazz club scene and
That's a good
everything
scene.
about that. And that is
Yes.
just, definitely the best scene of this movie.
The trilogy,
I
I
don't
would
think
say.
it has the trilogy. Yeah, I think it definitely tops Toby stopping the train and anything from Spider-Man 1. I mean, it's just amazing. And the worst thing is that I am a very big personal fan of Venom and also kind of Topher Grace. And I'm so sad at how the potential for a live action opportunity for Venom was completely squandered because of too many villains, and it makes me so sad.
And he jumps into the fucking Venom and then explodes.
I forgot
It's like,
about him
whoa.
exploding.
Yeah, it's like, no.
It's the same bombs of the stupid skeletons in the first one.
He goes through Schmiegel's entire character arc in 4 minutes.
It's fine.
All right, ratings. I'm giving this one a B. So 7 out of 10. I still like it despite its flaws. It's still really fun to watch.
I'm gonna agree with Rotten Tomatoes on like a 6 out of 10 because it gets a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
Okay.
I give this movie a 7 out of 10 because I can't give it an 8 out of 10 because I gave Spider-Man 1 an 8 out of 10, and that would be
Awful to
really,
this movie.
really unjustified to Spider-Man 1 to give the same rating of Spider-Man 3 and 1 just because I like Spider-Man 3 because it's really stupid.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Do we want to rank all the movies in order of our least favorite to favorite?
2, 1, 3.
3's your favorite?
No, 2 is my favorite. 3 is my least.
Okay. I said least favorite to favorite, but okay, go out of order. That's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I don't pay attention.
All right, for me, I'd go 3, 1, 2. So same order as Frankie.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. All right.
I have a soft spot for Spider-Man 1. I'd like it a lot more. I remember it a lot better. I don't know why than 2. Like, not just because I've seen it a lot, but because, like, there are movies that I've seen, like, once, like, 12 years ago, and I remember it, but, like, I never remember Spider-Man 2, and I just watched it, like, yesterday, and I still forget things about that movie. I don't know why it's less memorable to me, but it just, I don't know. It doesn't resonate with me as much as the first one does, but maybe it's just because I like Willem Dafoe a lot.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's fine.
That might just be it.
Don't spill your beans to me.
That's it.
It's honestly that movie in total is great. The first one, I think Willem Dafoe makes the first one.
I think my thing with this trilogy and why I love it so much and dislike most of the Marvel movies is because when these movies are bad, they're fun. When the MCU is bad, it's boring and dull. You know?
Yeah, Captain Marvel.
Ant-Man.
I've never seen the first Ant-Man. I've only seen Ant-Man and the
so bad.
It's very boring.
Because I think they've gone down to that formula in the MCU when they introduce a new character is to make their main priority introducing the new character.
Yeah. I feel like most of the movies don't feel like they are directed by a person. It feels like every one of them is just directed by Disney. None of the directors' stamp feel like they are accentuated in the film, and the films tend to not have a personality.
Nope. That's why these movies are so much more interesting, even if they're significantly worse. Is like
they're real bad.
Yeah, I mean there are some Marvel movies that are just like I don't like them, but for most people you can look at it and be like
Captain
it's a fine
Marvel.
movie, like it's passable, like it's not egregiously bad, but it's just so much less interesting, and that's why I will never watch it again. Is like if you paid me money to watch Ant-Man again over like Spider-Man 3, like that'd have to be a lot of money. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like I agree. I don't want to watch Ant-Man.
Yeah. I'm never going to watch Ant-Man again. Civil War, the first Avengers, the second Avengers movie, Thor Ragnarok.
Oh God,
I'll probably never watch any of those movies again. I'll still watch Spider-Man 3 again.
Sure.
I will only watch the MCU movies directed by Jon Favreau.
All right. We got anything else to say about this, or should we move on to Jake's suggestion?
Do we have time for?
Well, I mean, we don't, not like Star Wars. I mean, Jake gets to pick the topic of the next podcast.
Oh yeah, we have to hear what Jake has to pick for our episode 3 of Mystery.
Yep.
Which is what I think we should codename this podcast.
That's probably a better idea than triple question marks.
3 faggy ball fuck.
All right, Jake, what's our topic?
Oh no. I think I'm gonna go with probably. I guess I might be the only person who's seen all 3 of these movies, but if we're gonna stick with, unfortunately, this one goes longer than the trilogy. But
no.
I would love to talk about the misfortunes and the horribleness of everything past the first Jaws movie.
Oh, I have to find those. Oh, that's going to be interesting to do.
There are so many stories behind the makings of like Jaws 2 and 3 and fucking 4, Jesus Christ. But
and
like
Jaws 3D.
And Jaws 3D, but
I need to find a way to watch Jaws 3D in 3D.
No, I've never seen any of the Jaws movies, so
I've seen the first one, and then I've seen parts of Jaws 3D because it was always on Showtime.
I think I've seen everyone.
I'm so excited.
Let me make sure there's none I've missed. I've seen everyone. I've seen Jaws 1, 2, 3D, and The Revenge, which is amazing.
I've seen Jaws: The Revenge, definitely.
Yeah, we could just stick with the first 3, and then if anyone watches the 4th one, they can comment on it. But because I can comment on it because it's really stupid. But we'll go with the first 3 because
all right,
it's very interesting.
Right. Here's what I think is going to happen. I'm going to watch the first one, be like, that was pretty good. I'm excited for the next one. And then I'm going to watch the next one, and I'm going to be so let down.
I'm gonna have to take some things I brought back from Vegas to watch the rest. That's all I'm gonna say legally. For legal reasons, that's a joke.
For legal reasons, that's a joke.
For legal reasons, that's.
Yeah, if anyone wants I had just pulled up the movies just in case I make sure I got them all right. If anyone wants a comparison between the Rotten Tomatoes scores just off of clicks, the first one has a 98%,
Ooh.
The second one has a 60%, and the third one has a 10%.
Ooh.
So
what does the fourth one have?
The fourth one doesn't even have a Rotten Tomatoes.
What?
Oh God!
Oh, it has a 0%.
Oh no!
I have to watch
I feel like that has to be included now.
I'm watching it.
I know this. I know the Spider-Man scores off the top of my head. If you want to give them out,
I'm gonna watch all 4 Jaws movies for the next one.
The Spider-Man Rotten Tomato scores were a 93 for the first one, a 98 for the second one, and then a 62 for the third one.
Jaws: The Revenge has a 2.9 on IMDb.
Oh no!
It's definitely the worst one. It's really, really, really bad.
I am excited to watch them.
All right, so if you don't want to be spoiled for Jaws: The Revenge,
Jaws: The Revenge,
watch them before the next podcast.
If you don't want to be spoiled for any movie where shark attacks, shark loses, make sure to watch all the Jaws movies.
Shark mostly wins, kind of.
Shark kind of wins, and then shark loses.
And then after that, we're gonna watch 47 Meters Down.
No, we're gonna watch 50 Shades. We need to do 50 Shades of Grey.
All right, listen. If it comes back to you, when it comes back to you, and you want to pick 50 Shades of Grey, you can do that.
I'm picking 50 Shades of Grey because it's gonna be hysterical to talk about. Because I have not seen the last. I think it's the last one yet. I've seen the first 2. Fun fact, everyone. I read the first book.
Okay, well,
I haven't seen any of them, so this is a whole new world for me.
They're bad.
Well, all right. Well, next time you could pick, I guess you could pick.
That'll be episode. This is episode.
That'll be episode 5.
Episode 4.
Right? 5.
No, episode 4.
No, episode 4. My
because
pick.
you pick up. Yeah. Oh no, yeah, because that next episode is episode 3, then 4, then 5.
Yep, that's how numbers work.
I know how math. I'm not gay. I don't know how.
Did you just have a stroke?
I kind of did. I'm kind of very drunk.
All right.
All right, Richard, where can they find you?
You can find me at youtube.com/richwrites.
You can find me at FBD45 pretty much everywhere.
And you can find me at your local Target.
Honestly, I feel like you fit the description of every Target worker ever.
Jake, give us your best hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Perfect. All right. I guess that's it. That's it. That's the end.
That's a podcast.
That was
Episode 2.
Pizza time.
Subscribe. Gonna cry?
Subscribe. Give us a rating.
Yeah. Gonna cry?
Hope you enjoyed the pie.
It's so good.
Oh my god.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
How do I end this thing? It's just gonna...